Ladies and gentlemen, we are live!
Welcome everybody to the Bronx Sports Jedi's Network for your weekly MMA combat sports breakdown with me, Austin, and Chef Dan. How you doing tonight, Chef Dan?
I'm doing quite excellent. We had a nice weekend of fights, a very, very nice weekend of fights. Like it was very controversial, and we always say this: we got a lot of questions answered, but we have even more questions. So we're here to ask those questions and hopefully get more answers the following week. How you doing? How you doing tonight, Austin?
Doing all right. Very, like you said, doing solid. Like you said, this past weekend, a lot of good action, a lot of good fights. Some controversial, some left us with more questions and etc. Things like that. But definitely a lot to talk about from this past weekend. Also this upcoming weekend, a very big card, end of the year's pay-per-view for the UFC. But excuse me there. But before that, I do want to mention that we are on audio podcast platforms such as Anchor FM, Spotify, Podbean, Reason FM, and Buzzsprout.com. So if you want to listen to us on audio instead of having YouTube drain your batteries, where you're working or driving, you can listen to us in these audio platforms as well. So I do want to mention that. And like I said, let's recap what happened this past weekend. First, let's start with the main event at Bellator 272 between Sergio Pettis and Kyoji Horiguchi, and for the Bantamweight title in Bellator. Sergio Pettis wins this fight by spinning back fist in the fourth round, knocking out Kyoji Horiguchi in a very impressive knockout. It's a Pettis type of knockout. What I mean by that is Sergio's older brother Anthony always has spectacular highlight reel not just knockouts but also stuff like the Showtime kick, for example, where everybody remembers. I mean, we did it Benson Henderson, we jump off the cage. And also the Wonder Boy fight 2 years ago where he was losing the fight, kind of like this fight, like Sergio was losing the fight, getting dominated. Anthony does the Superman punch off the cage, knocking out Wonder Boy, and he has a comeback victory, impressive highlight reel knockout. Sergio has a similar thing where he was losing this fight, Kyoji Horiguchi, 3-0, and it looked like Horiguchi's going to cruise and dominate away to the victory, but no, Sergio pulls a rabbit out of his hat and is able to get to pull up I guess you can say upset victory over Kyoji Horiguchi. Upset in terms of the fact that he was losing the fight, if that makes sense. And Dan, what were your thoughts on this fight, on Sergio's comeback and Horiguchi and everything that happened?
I don't think you're making a big enough deal of how badly Sergio Pettis was losing this fight, because it was very, very bad. Like, Kyoji was getting in and out of range with his speed. with ease. Sergio was offering nothing as far as as far as any activity to kind of counter that, and maybe kind of or any footwork hopefully to kind of counter that. He wasn't really doing that. He was kind of falling along in the Kyoji's game plan. Kyoji got a lot of leg kicks in. He had a lot of moments all throughout the first 3 rounds. And then that fourth round came, and that spinning back fist, like you said, it came out of nowhere. And as impressive as it is, man, I just I don't know if I believe in it. And when I see like that's a funny way of saying it. But when I
Yep.
say I don't believe in it, I mean like realistically, this is coming off the heels of the announcement that the Grand Prix for this division is about to happen. And so having this fight end the way it did with the one, Sergio Pettis having little to no activity, little to no output in the first three rounds. The fourth round, his trainers, in between rounds, the fourth round, his trainers are telling him, it's like, you're losing this 3-0. You need a knockout. You need a knockout. And he got it. I'm not discounting it, but going into the Grand Prix, having a guy like Rafael Stotts, I'm
Ooh.
like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. Yeah, or Magomedov, who's also in this turn.
Magomed, like that's another guy as well who's very tactical and isn't going to, at the very least, when they start to get a favorable pace, they aren't going to do the same thing. They're going to switch it up now and offer you something else, or at least if they see they've got 3 rounds, they're going to start to do the smart thing and try and control the octagon. And if you're rushing in and losing the fight, they're going to take what they can, and then after that go for grappling, and from there try and control top, and just that's it, because you're gonna fatigue yourself trying to get the knockout. And that's the part where I don't believe in the spinning back fist. He had the athleticism to pull it off. He is a Pettis, and we've seen that family has the ability to pull this off. But I mean, in a Grand Prix where every fight is going to be for that title, as Sergio Pettis is going in. I know he's already used to that as a champion, but now you're going in where you're kind of seeing the layout and everything, and you're going to have to fight. You know where your next fights are, and you're fighting for the title each and every time. And it's not enough until you leave the Grand Prix with your championship. I like After this fight, I'm not convinced that he can do it.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I see what you mean. I kind of agree with you there. That yeah, I think he has probably the best chances of all the champion. Like he has a great chance of losing, of not making out the tournament as the champion personally, considering what we saw against Horiguchi. And if possible, him and Horiguchi rematch again, that it might be a dominant victory for Horiguchi. Maybe he doesn't get caught. Also, Horiguchi's got power in his hands. Maybe he catches Sergio Pettis and drops him, and maybe knocks him out. Kind of like in his Horiguchi and no losses. I forgot Kai Askarov over in Japan Rising. And then a year later they rematch, and Horiguchi avenged that loss by knocking Kai out in like first couple of minutes of the rematch. So I mean it's possible like that, but also those other guys you mentioned, Rafael and Stouts. I know they're train partners, I believe, but if they do make it far, they might have to fight each other, and that's like Stouts isn't. I mean, Stouts beat Magomedov, who's only lost to Pierre Yan, other than before he lost to Stouts, and he also has a victory over Pierre Yan too. So and Stouts was able to control wrestling against Magomedov, who comes from Dagestan. So got someone like him or Juan Archuleta, who Sergio beat Juan Archuleta, but Juan Archuleta is good enough to where he can make adjustments and maybe offer a new, different fight, than he did against Sergio the first time they fought. You also got Patchy Mix, who's also got great grappling. James Gallagher's all in the tournament as well, great grappling, and Higo, also Leonardo Hingo, who also has a great grappler as well. And I mean, yeah, there's a lot of guys in this tournament that I always say everyone has a shot to win this tournament. That's the one thing I like about this Grand Prix is that everyone can win it. Basically, everyone has a legit chance. It's not like one of those where you go, well, these guys can win, but everyone else, and it's like, nah, everyone has a shot. And especially in a tournament like that, and after seeing what Sergio went through, it's kind of hard to believe that Sergio is going to come out as the winner of the tournament.
I agree with you 100%. These are the 2 points that was just talking with you now and really thinking it over. The only two things I could come away with out of this fight was Sergio took more damage than I want to choose my words carefully. Sergio took more damage than he planned to. I can't say he took more damage than necessary because the next statement would negate the word necessary. And that is that we have seen a style of fighting that can dominate Sergio Pettis for 3 rounds, clearly.
Right. Yep. And it's crazy. He's Horiguchi, even though he's wrestling, he's gotten better ever since he's gone American Top Team and train over there. He comes from a karate background. It's not exactly a wrestling background. It makes you wonder why would he face a Magomedov from Dagestan? Is that Dagestani wrestling? I mean, that could present him some problems.
It is what it is. I mean, the only reason I said the wrestling was because I feel like if Horiguchi decided to do some wrestling in the 4th round early, even though they're sweaty, at least try and negate the range that negate the range that Pettis had in trying to get those wild attacks, then maybe that would have helped him survive the round. But because he didn't go to that and he decided to go back to the striking, I mean, it's not a flawed process. The thinking isn't flawed in the sense that the dipping in and out, the quick weaving, the footwork, all that he was presenting to Sergio got him the 3-0. But at the later rounds, if you have to switch it up to provide him something else, that way he isn't used to that. Because that's what he's been seeing for 3 rounds, and he is a champion in his own right, then you kind of, I don't know, you maybe give yourself a chance, but all I can say is that it was, Horiguchi did show something. And that was more than I don't know. He showed more than Sergio Pettis did, even with the spinning back fist with the amazing fireworks. The only thing I came away with out of that was like I really don't believe in that, especially coming into the Grand Prix. I don't believe in it.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from. It's kind of like when Pettis, knocked out his brother, Anthony Pettis, knocked that Wonder Boy with the Superman punch off the cage back 2 years ago. Where it was like you didn't believe it. So Pettis was losing that fight to Wonder Boy, and then unfortunately his next fight lost to Nate Diaz in UFC 242 here in Anaheim, the second Stipe and DC card and etc. I'm not saying it's gonna happen because Sergio, who knows, he's good enough to where he can win a fight in this tournament. I'm not saying he's gonna lose his next fight.
He's not. I'm not saying he's gonna lose the next fight, but all that damage he's taking, and knowing how quick the Grand Prix is, I don't see him coming out of the Grand Prix with the championship. And if he does, then I,
Yeah,
it would, it'd be a medal that he'd earned. That it, it's something that I couldn't take away. No one could take away. He put his, you tip the cap, and he possibly put himself a GOAT in that division.
yeah, he put himself as a potential best fighter in that division, all of MMA potentially if he's able. If he dominates that tournament, easier said than done. But obviously, it's a great tournament. I mean, that's probably like the best Bellator tournament they've done probably so far. And the featherweight one was a really great one. The light heavyweight's been a solid one, but it might be the best one they've done. This one coming up. I mean, like I said, all 8 guys I mentioned from Gallagher to Refuan Stouts to Magomov to he Leonardo Higo to excuse me Julianna, Horiguchi, and Pettis, all of them can win. So I mean that's an exciting tournament. If you're an MMA fan, that's like it's kind of like the old Pride tournaments back in the day in the 2000s when Pride was doing them every year. How they were so stacked, so exciting. If you're an MMA fan at the time, just hearing from people who were fans at the time talking about how you didn't know who was going to win. It was so exciting. You're just excited to see the matchups. That's what I feel for this tournament. It's like Bellator gave us a Christmas gift this is our Christmas gift basically since we're in holiday season.
Most definitely.
With that being
So
said, sorry.
no. Go ahead.
Yeah, that being said, we are gonna move on and talk about this past UFC weekend. This past UFC happened over the weekend with the Rafael and Jose Aldo. I guess we'll start with that fight if you want, Dan.
Uh, if I do you want to start with that fight, or do you want to start with I mean, another.
Which I mean, we can. I
Okay,
mean, you know
I
what? We can
didn't.
work away. Go ahead.
All right, I saw. All right, we can save the prelims for later. I want to work up the card. I want to save Aldo and Font for a little later because that was a lot of technicality. We got to really break that down. If
Okay.
anything, let's start off with Clay Guida versus Leonardo Santos.
Yeah. This was a very a tale of two different fights. I mean, in the first round, Leonardo Santos hurt Guida. I believe it was a knee. No, I know he threw. It was
No,
some.
he threw. Man, it was either
I think
he
a
threw a
body shot.
combo. He threw a
Yes.
body shot, and then he threw a left body shot and a right hand. It hurt Clay, and then he threw a couple of flurries while Clay was defending. Clay tried to lower himself, go for some wrestling. That was when he made the mistake. He went down, grabbed the ankle, trying to survive. He was ducking some punches. He got up. He started ducking, tried to go for wrestling again. Right there, that was when Leonardo saw that, got him with a knee, hurt Clay really bad. Clay is still fighting through the wrestling, and at this moment, oh my God, I gotta find out who the referee is
Keith
because the
Pearson, I
referee,
think. I think it was
Keith,
Keith Pearson.
it was Keith Peterson. Whoever it was, yes, it was Keith Peterson. No nonsense, Keith Peterson. He knows Clay Guida because he let Clay duck and weave through it all. As long as Clay looked like conscious, he was letting him fight through it all. And Clay is ducking and weaving, and some shots are hitting him, some shots are not. And he finally gets out of the flurry. And Leonardo is tired, but Clay is also tired. And so the first round ends in a kind of Leonardo takes it, but the first round kind of ends through a stalemate. Second round, Clay Guida gets right back into it because he sees that Leonardo's tired. He gets to some strikes, leads right into some wrestling, takes takes Leonardo down, tries for a couple submissions, and then he ends it with a rear naked choke. It was very, very impressive by Clay Guida. Just some veteran savvy by him, and just some veteran fight in staying in it and all that. What were your thoughts on that?
I mean, first of all, give credit to Clay Guida for surviving that onslaught from Leonardo Santos because Santos hurt him, and there was moments in that fight, like especially when Guida was on the ground and he was trying, weave and dodge some punches, some connecting. And I thought it was gonna get stopped. That Keith Pearson was gonna stop it, but he didn't, and he was able to get up and after a while they were able to get off the ground and Santos did he landed some shots in Guida, but the problem was there was no power behind it. He gassed himself out. He was tired, and that's why he was able to survive him and get past the second round. And then in the second round, Guida was able to go for a takedown, which I think he tried. Yeah, which he tried several times in the first round. Obviously, that was to survive some of the onslaught from Santos. But once he got the takedown, it was basically like you said, game over. Santos was tired. Santos is like a world-renowned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. He's won. I think he's been in several big tournaments. I think he's won some of them, if I'm mistaken. I don't. I gotta look at. I gotta check it again. But I know he's participated in some of these tournaments, big Jiu-Jitsu tournaments. But Santos was just tired, and he was just too. Once he was tired, once he got on the ground, Clay got in good position. It was over for Santos because he really didn't have the energy to fight, and Quigley was able to use that and get a rear naked submission over a renowned Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner. And it was just it was super impressive because he faced adversity, overcame the adversity, was able to get what he wanted and get a finish too, not just a decision, a finish within early in the second round. And that right there was just like I made 21 in the second round, and that was just like you just tip your hat and say, "Damn, Quigley, what an impressive performance." I mean, especially Coy's older now. He's been fighting the UFC, I think I mentioned last week, since 2006. So for him to have a performance like that, 15 years in his UFC run, I think he's been fighting a lot longer, since 03 or 02, somewhere around that range. I forget which year, but it's due to that. I mean, and still get a victory. I mean, that's just like, wow. Woo! Like,
Yep,
you still got a dog in him. Still fighting this man.
dude, 37 and 21. That means he's had 58 fights.
Dang, 58 fights. Yeah,
And that's 58 official professional fights. So we're not even counting the amateur fights. The man has had a long storied career. So salute to Clay Guida.
mm-hmm. Yep, definitely. And if you thought that performance was that finish was all nice, the next fight in the light heavyweight division between Jamahal Hill and Jimmy Crute. Jamahal Hill wins this fight via first round KO in 48 seconds into the fight. Now, not a lot we can break down because it was less than a minute, but Crute was throwing a lot of kicks early on. He did throw some kicks, but Jamahal Hill was able to counter him, catch him with a right a hit that knocked him down, and then why am I forgetting the finishing blow? It was I know the right
No,
knocked
no,
him
no.
down,
Wait. I got you. I remember this one vividly.
right?
Jamal Hill, like, 'cause he has length. He has a very, an awkward length for the division, and he also carries a lot of power. So that's why he's a weird, like, I don't know, he's one of those weird fighters. So
Yes.
Jimmy Crute is throwing the kicks. He's trying to, keep the distance. And as soon as he tires up a little and he slows down on the kicks, Jamal Hill throws a right hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. It puts Jimmy Crute down. The ref checks on Jimmy Crute. Jimmy Crute gets back up slowly. He's like, "Come on, I'm ready for it." Jamal Hill's like, "All right, let's go." He's trying to throw and everything, trying to grapple with Jamal Hill. Jamal Hill distances himself. He throws a kick. Jamal Hill blocks it, comes down with the kick. Jamal Hill goes, bang! Hits him one more time with that right hand. Jimmy Crute falls. This time he is down. Jamal Hill comes back one more time, hammer fist, and the ref just ends it because he is out. Like, it's over.
Yeah. Okay, that's what it was. It was straight right. Okay. Yeah, I remember the hammer fist. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you're right about everything. What man, that was a great performance because Jamal Hill's last performance, he got his elbow like torn, or somewhat torn, not too badly by Paul Craig back in June. And I was interested in this fight because I want to see how both guys were coming off losses where it was injury related. And Jamal Hill just went out there and pulled an upset because I think Jimmy Crute was a decent favorite, not large, but a decent favorite. Everyone thought Jimmy Crute was going to win because on the road Crute has been, he's highly touted. Jamal Hill is is a prospect, but Crute's had a bigger hype going into this fight in his career. But Jamal Hill, like I say, he has power in his hands, and he took it, he used it. He's able to finish Jimmy Crute in a very impressive, very violent knockouts, might add, and he's able, win and move up the rankings, get back in the win column, in this ever, changing like light heavyweight division that recently got a lot of new fresh blood. Jamal Hill tries to, obviously trying to establish himself as one of the, next, rising contenders in this division. And is there anything else you want to say about this fight, Dan?
Um, just very impressive fashion for Jamal Hill. It was that same arm that was broken that he was using confidently with a lot of power. So that really says a lot about him. He's actually back. And that's something like, usually when a fighter has a broken, a broken appendage, they're usually nervous about throwing that same appendage. You saw Thiago Santos when he came back from injuring both his legs. He wasn't throwing a lot of kicks like he used to. Not until he got into to that Johnny Walker fight. That was when we really saw him a lot more comfortable. Even though it wasn't that much of an action-packed fight, but we saw a more comfortable a more comfortable Thiago Santos, who was throwing a lot more leg kicks, and that was what we all as fans wanted to see of fighters who come back from injuries. Is that if you've come back, if you truly come back and you thought that this was the right time, that's because you rehab properly and then you train properly. You were throwing with the same ferocity that you were throwing before the injury, and now you're more confident than ever to come back into the ring because you've learned something. And so that was very impressive for Jamahal Hill. He's back, but he hasn't been tested yet as far as submission defense. That's something he will definitely have to get tested on. Hopefully his next opponent, gives him that test and we'll have an interesting fight on our hands.
Oh yeah, definitely, and like to see what happens next for Jamahal Hill, who he fights next in this UFC light heavyweight division, and now we go from there to the co-main event between Rafael Fiziev and Brad Riddell, as Fiziev scores a third round TKO victory in 2 minutes 20 seconds in the third round via a very memorable, very exciting spinning wheel kick. I mean, it was a TKO, but you can call. I mean, debatable made KO. I mean, it was a weird KO because when he hit Jimmy Crute, I mean not Jimmy Crute, Brad Riddell, excuse me, Riddell basically like body stopped, froze, and he just shook his head like no more, and then he kind of just fell.
No, bro, it wasn't controversial.
And no, it wasn't controversial. No, it wasn't
It
controversial.
was it was it was Mortal Kombat esque.
Yes, I wasn't as controversial. It was just weird how it happened.
It
Like no,
was weird. No, it was Mortal Kombat esque. It was vicious. Like it wasn't like he said no more. He just like it. Oh man, what's the best way to describe it? Okay, ladies and gentlemen, the wheel kick hits him over the head. Right, boom! It makes contact. He leans over and comes back. His hands aren't in a fist anymore. He's kind of like this, and then his head just goes. So it looks like he's saying no. But in reality, like, because I had to watch it over and over, like, I really rewatched this fight because this was very interesting. I know I watched it the night of, but I had to rewatch it 2 3 nights ago again because this was so interesting. The action between these two before we get into the fight, just the action before we get into the KO again. The action between these two, it wasn't like it was a chump fight for Brad Riddell.
it wasn't. Riddell had his moments in this fight.
He had plenty of moments. It was just that Fiziev, he always had a counter. He always had an answer for whenever Brad Riddell stepped into range. And so it was just and both of these guys, like, it's a great fight when you see that two guys know each other, but they weren't afraid to knock each other out because they knew they were in the same division. Hey, one of us has to leave out of here with the higher ranking. One of us has to be a step closer to getting that dream that we both want. And so we both know, what has to happen in this octagon. And that was what, like, it seemed like that was the agreement between these two. And when you have that agreement between that two fighters who truly know each other, that you can have a great fight. And that was what this truly was. If any of you have a chance to, like, if you didn't watch this fight and you have a chance to watch this fight, please, I implore you to watch this fight. It wasn't about ground game. It was about stand up range and countering, answering, things of that nature. You saw it. Rafael Fiziev was tight. Everything was tight. like when I say tight, I mean like the punches. He's coming in straight, coming right back, defending himself. He's rarely letting his defense slip. He's countering off of everything Brad Riddell has, and it's not like Brad Riddell didn't have anything for him. He's coming back with the same amount of technique. Brad Riddell also came in a bit bigger for this competition. You saw it in the mass in his back, like he was coming with some power, and you. Oh man, it was just a beautiful fight. But then you get to that round and that wheel kick when it comes, and Riddell is. It's not like he's saying no. He is knocked out. He's asked, like he's like, what? What happened? What do you mean? And then he fell over, and that was what like it. Oh man, it was Mortal Kombat esque. It was just. It was beautiful.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh.
yeah, you're right about one thing. Brad Riddell's back what looked like big. I was watching. I saw him like he looks bigger than freaking Fiziev. Almost like geez, looks. I mean, I'm the back muscle and everything. And one thing I noticed in this fight that I think is that it seemed like Brad Riddell was more like hesitant, like obviously respects Fiziev because Fiziev is very was on a roll. Is a very good fighter and. But it seemed like Fiziev was more comfortable in this fight, whereas Riddell wasn't. Like, because you mentioned they know each other because they used to train together, which is something I failed to mention last week. Is you guys were training partners, and it seems like maybe Riddell remembers, I guess, all the times they spar together, or maybe it didn't go his way at times. At moments in this fight, it seemed that way with Riddell. Like I said, Riddell has moments in this fight where he did well,
I
but
I mean, I agree and disagree to some extent. Like, it wasn't that he was. All right, I agree that he was hesitant, but I don't think it had to do with remembering the past, or maybe it did. Who knows? But I think one of the reasons that he definitely was hesitant was because he was fearful of the speed. Because Fiziev clearly had a speed advantage over Riddell. That's why he was able to get all the counters and everything. But what Brad Riddell tried to counter with was, because you can see it in the way he trained and the way his physique looked. He said, I can't match him speed for speed, and I'm not going to decrease my power trying to cut weight to match his speed. So instead, I'm just going to lean into my power. So now he did lean into the power. Now, what he should have done, or what would have been, excuse my language, what could have possibly been a better tactic was, if you're going to lean into the power, you spend training camp dealing with footwork, footwork within range so you can slide in and out. And also you want to keep within within that footwork, you want to keep a certain range so he can't use the kicks. If if you kept close while having the power that you had, he wasn't able to use the kicks, and from there it would have maybe gone Riddell's way, but who knows. But it was, all in all, a very impressive fight.
it was great fight back and forth. Like I said, Riddell has moments in this fight several times, but Fiziev was the one who was able to go out there and excuse me, and was able to land better shots and land, of course, that beautiful spinning wheel kick that finished the job. As Riddell's, I believe, 8 fight winning streak is snapped. As Riddell was a decent favorite. It looked like everyone, really, Riddell was the guy that everyone's predicting to be the next guy in his lightweight division. But now Fiziev enters in that conversation of a guy who's near top 10, who might be fine for find next in the top 10 competition potentially. Like after we're done talking about this card, I'll pull up the rankings so you can see, like, I guess, where the rankings are. But
Oh, I mean, I have the rankings if you want me to.
I got
Well, the top 15 goes Joel Alvarez, Brad Riddell at 14, Armin Sukayan at 13, Diego Ferreira at 12, Rafael Fiziev moved up to 11, Gregor Gillespie at 10, Conor McGregor at 9, Dan Hooker at 8, Tony Ferguson at 7, Rafael Dos Anjos at 6, Michael Chandler at 5, Islam at 4, Beneil at 3, Justin Gaethje at 2, and Dustin Poirier at 1.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, it's a new guy in his lightweight division, and yeah, and like I said, it's a lot of options for him next. And you see where Fiziev goes from here. Who we fight next? I mean, he's gonna be a problem for a lot of guys in this division. The division is regrouping in terms of new established talents. In his 155 division. We'll see what happens. But let's talk about the main event now. In the bantamweight division between Jose Aldo and Rob Font. Going to this fight, Rob Font with a 4-fight win streak, coming with a victory with Cody Garbrandt in May of this year. Going 5 rounds against Cody Garbrandt. Win that fight comfortably. And Jose Aldo is coming off 2 back-to-back victories over Pedro Munoz and Chito Vera. And I believe that Shield fight was in August, or it might have been earlier than that. I forget when was the last time Aldo fought. But either way, Jose Aldo.
Jose Aldo, last time he fought, I believe it was Pedro Munoz. It was.
Dan's looking it up right now. Okay, as he checks to see when was last.
August 7th.
Okay, yeah, August 7th. All right. Oh yeah, that was the Derek Lewis and Zeragon card, the Houston pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, all right, and like I said, 2-fight win streak on this fight, and Jose Aldo gets the unanimous decision win, 50-45 on 2 judges' scorecards and 49-46 on another. And this, no, I believe it was that. No, I believe it was 50-45 for 2 judges' scorecards or 1. I forget. Let me see. Okay, yeah. It was 2 judges' scorecards get 50-45, 1 get 49-46.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Either way, Jose Aldo won the fight. The right guy won. Aldo won this fight. And the big advantage of it's weird because Ralph Font had his moments in this fight. Like his jab, when he threw the jab, he landed effectively. And early on, he was switching stances, which it seemed like at times Aldo couldn't throw his leg kicks. Obviously, he was switching stances, which I think probably why he was doing it early on, Ralph Font. But Aldo had a lot of power in his punches, and that was, I believe, a big factor. Was the power factor. Although every time he hit Font, he rocked Font. Font got dropped twice or 3 times in this fight. Not including the leg kicks. I know.
I mean, no. I'd never count the leg kick downs, but he got down like maybe twice due to strikes.
Yeah, I do remember. Yes, I remember. Yeah, I think you're right. Because second round, I believe, I want to say the 4th round or 3rd round, don't remember, where Rob Font got dropped. But either way, it was the power. It seemed like Aldo had a lot of power in his punches, and it really, even if he didn't drop Rob Font, it rocked Font to the point where Font had to retreat, and Font and really seemed to bother Font.
No, he dropped Font twice. Sorry for cutting you off, but he dropped Font twice.
Okay, twice. All right. Yes, he did drop Font twice, but even the times he didn't drop Font was, really reacting to the punches, and really it was bothering him like badly. And I think Rob Font had like a swelling on his right eye, if I'm mistaken, or left eye, that even that later on the fight got somewhat bad. I know Aldo had swollen in his one of his eyes also from all the jabs he took from Rob Font.
In his right eye.
Yeah, both guys wore the damage. They wore the damage they took on their faces. It was very bad. They both got hit a lot. But Aldo was the one with more power punches and was able to do more and was able to get takedowns also. Although at times he didn't exactly go for submissions or anything, but those takedowns after hamstring Font were crucial because it took time away from Font to establish more offense, but also He was able to get some rest too, because Aldo kind of looked like at times was somewhat getting a little bit tired. And he was able to use that takedown moment to catch his breath, while also win style points, obviously, win points with the judges. Although him knocking down Rob Font and landing damaging punches probably would have been enough anyway. But at the same time, Rob Font has such good boxing that you don't want to just stand with him forever, because Rob Font eventually can catch you. But although he uses his championship experience, is able to, mix takedowns well, throw leg kicks, especially when you ever do especially his one leg kick drop Rob Font. I believe it was the fourth round, and which led to Aldo basically be able to get on top of him and just control him, use ground control. And Jose Aldo, I mean, all these years later, was it, like 12, 13 years to win a WEC featherweight title from Mike Brown, and 10 years after being the UFC featherweight champion at the WEC merged with the UFC. Guy who's fought his 38th professional fight, Jose Aldo, at 35, by the way. He seems older, still winning against these up and coming guys, these younger guys who are on a roll, like Rob Font. On a roll, he's able to win, put himself in a title contention, to the point where now he's possibly fighting for a number one contender fight, potentially, maybe against TJ Dillashaw. We'll talk about a little bit more about it later, but I mean, it's just impressive what Jose Aldo's been able to do. I mean, what are your thoughts on this fight and Aldo's performance?
You're absolutely right. We'll talk about that a little later. Let's get into the fight. Um, Rob Font fought a really great fight. Before I get into Jose Aldo, Rob Font fought a really great fight. It was punches and bunches. He even got I believe he got two takedowns on Jose Aldo. So it was like that was very surprising to see Rob Font be able to do that to Jose Aldo, knowing who Aldo is. But he was able to get the two takedowns, wasn't able to secure any submissions with that because Jose is who he is. He was able to show great defense, but yeah, right after that he just he kept consistent with the punches. Between the damage he was taking, because it was a clear damage, there was a clear damage output difference between Aldo and Font. And it was shown especially in the first round when Font, like, after the first couple of punches, it felt like he knew the way the night was going to go, that the only way for him to win was to win via punches and bunches and trying to mix it up. Maybe if he did mix it up more with a lot more takedowns, and it ain't really about the first shot or the second shot with wrestlers. It's about the third and the fourth, and trying to break the will. Maybe if he was able to do that, maybe mixing it up, making it a little more dirty from there, he could have maybe gotten the fight to go his way. But Jose was completely technical. Um, On to Jose Aldo. Great fight from him as well. This was an excellent fight, all in all. 5 fight round that I didn't mind watching over and over again. I think I watched this like 3 times because the way Jose Aldo, like, his corner helped him evolve through this fight. And we saw the progression of Jose Aldo through this fight. And that's a beautiful thing you can see in a fight. It's like an older fighter, literally, you saw him progress, and the reason why he is where he is today and getting the opportunities he's getting. Because it starts off with, granted, the damage output is clear as day. He can put down and knock out Rob Font whenever he wants to, but he's staying technical. He's not trying to hunt for the knockout shot. He's staying strictly to his techniques, right? And even though Rob Font got the takedowns and he spent some time down, he was able to fight through and get back up. And so he's not, Rob Font doesn't, dominate any rounds. Now, where the fighter evolves and where the corner helps him evolve, I believe it's the second or the third round in the intermission. And that's where his corner tells him, Jose, you're messing up right now. You need to take the opportunity with the leg kicks. Get back to your leg kicks. This guy isn't watching for the leg kicks right now. He's too comfortable with your hands. Get back to your leg kicks, mix it up. You're gonna win this fight. Get back to your leg kicks. Jose gets back to the leg kicks, and he's not doing a whole bunch. He's doing just enough to mix it up. And right there, that is where we see a whole new Jose Aldo, because we can see it. We saw it all through the Pedro Munoz fight and through the Chito Vera fight. No leg kicks, strictly striking with the hands, and he won those fights. But we saw him evolving with the hands. Excuse me. Now we need to see this. Like, this is championship level stuff. This is the stuff we're seeing with the Kamaru Usman, where Kamaru Usman, we saw that he was great with the wrestling, but now he's, but now he had to test, his hands. Now he's getting better and better with his hands. He's falling in love with the striking. But Kobe Covington was able to test his wrestling. He wasn't able to do anything offensively with his wrestling, but he was able to defend. And then when he needed to, he was able to take some time away with his wrestling. Same thing right there. Championship level stuff. But now we're seeing maybe where fighters are getting comfortable with, hey, maybe the recipe for Kamaru is to attack him offensively with wrestling, because he hasn't done that in a while. So maybe the skills are lacking there. We're seeing a complete MMA fighter, a mixed martial artist. Jose Aldo getting, like, this type of stuff is beautiful. He deservedly won this fight because he was the more evolved, more complete fighter, and he showed it all throughout this fight. And the fifth round, people may say it was coasting, but it wasn't. It was being smart, like you said, the championship level stuff of getting back your. He was able to secure the takedown while through the judge's eyes, not just laying on top of Rob Font. He was fighting for submissions throughout the whole time, staying active. A little bit of striking here and there, nothing too impactful, getting the points because he was fatigued, but he was staying active. And when he got his gas tank right to where he needed to, he let Rob Font get back up and ended the fight on striking on his terms. He controlled the octagon on his terms. And that is completely championship level stuff. Yes, James Ortega, we can hear you. We can see you. We can hear you. Salute to you, James Ortega. Salute to you, Dejan Stanovich as well. Dejan Stanovich, salute to you as well in the chat. We see you guys in the chat saluting. Flora Hubbard as well, salute to you as well. But with that was championship level stuff. And let's get right into it. The next fight, because he called him out. I need to see it because I don't think TJ Dillashaw, I think he got off easy with the decision from Sandhagen. This is a true test for number one contendership. You fight Jose Aldo while
Sterling Jan.
While Jan and Sterling get that mess settled. If they get it settled, these two guys fight for number one contendership. Let's get it on because we need more action.
Yeah,
I want to see more fights, and this is a fight I want to see.
I do too. I mean, these are two guys who were legends. I mean, you can make an argument Dillashaw is a legend, despite despite what the PD situation. But look at Dillashaw's legacy in terms of what he's done in the cage. Former bantamweight champion, defended multiple times. And I want to see Aldo and Dillashaw because these are two guys who are basically right there for title contention. Plus, these are two legends, which, I mean, we have two legends who are still, active fighters, still, really good, still elite fighters fighting each other. It's great to see. You should make it happen. And also, the fact is that both guys were also champions around the same time. When Dillashaw first won the bantamweight title back in 2014, 2015, Aldo was still the featherweight champion. And now, 6-7 years later, they're both still winning fights, and they're both still title contenders. Aldo went down different weight class. It's pretty remarkable. So I really want to see it, just to see, they're both great offensive, strikers. Well, both great strikers, period. And this is a fun matchup. I mean, it's a matchup that gets you up, makes you amped up, makes you excited. I mean, mean, that excites you, Dan. And everybody in the chat, I'm pretty sure you're excited. You would be excited to see Dillashaw and
Look,
Aldo.
I'm telling you right now, I got a couple fights lined up in the division already. Sterling versus Jan is set up already. Dillashaw versus Aldo. We just had two fighters like, they need to search for themselves and who could be the next guy coming up. Maybe we have Sandhagen versus Font.
Ah, I like that idea. Saying fun, why not? I like that idea. Yeah, I can go with that. Also, another fight in this division that, well, we'll talk a little bit more about it later, obviously, because in the upcoming card is Dominic Cruz and Pedro Munoz in the top 10, who can maybe, get himself where they're like where they're two fights away from the title fight. Maybe Cruz can fight as maybe Sandhagen or Font or Pedro Munoz. Whoever wins that fight, obviously. We'll talk about that a little bit more later.
I
But
mean, and also, does Cody Garbrandt have a fight coming up?
yes, he's fighting by
Kai
flyweight.
Kara France, yes.
Yes. Yes, hang on. Let me real quick. Actually, oh my bad. Wait, let me just change it right here. Sorry, I didn't mean to cover up the whole I didn't mean to cover up the whole screen, but I was trying to show the rankings, the Bantamweight rankings, just so we can do a little matchmaking. Give me one moment. Let me just do it like this. The Bantamweight rankings UFC, because the Bantamweight division is pretty exciting. We can all say that, at least everyone can.
I mean, someone just said in the chat, salute to you, Chris B. You just said Marab versus Cheeto. That sounds very interesting right there.
Good, I like that. Yeah, you know what, Chris B, that's a great matchup. I'm down for that. Thank you, Chris B, for that great suggestion right there.
That is very interesting. Salute to you, Chris B. That this division is very interesting.
Indeed, it is. It is definitely. This is a lot of excitement. You got younger guys, older guys, veterans. Aldo and Dillashaw, and we'll see what happens this Saturday if Cruz throws up in the mix. In terms of top 10 guys to watch out for. You still got Marab up there now. He's on a roll, young up and coming guy. Font, Font's he lost, but we can't count. We can't sleep on Font either. I mean, this division's really, it's on fire. This might be the best UFC division. You can make an argument.
I mean, I don't know. We'll save that for another day.
Okay. All right, and now, is there anything else we want to mention briefly before we break down this Saturday's pay-per-view?
My girlfriend would kill me if I didn't mention him, Chris Curtis.
Oh,
he was
yes.
also on the main card. He won his fight in the second round via it was a TKO via punches and knees. He defeated Brendan Allen. That was a very impressive fight. Very, very impressive fight. Dusko Todorovic, he was in the prelims. He won his fight via TKO, ground and pound. He was very impressive. Manel Kopp, I'm always watching him. He came out with the flying knee, didn't land it, but then he won his fight. He was very, very impressive. And that guy, he's always eligible for a bonus in the way he fights. Cheyenne Vlismas, who was previously Cheyenne Bai, she won her fight, so salute to her as well. We're always watching her and hoping that she continues to win and win fight of the night bonuses. So, very impressive.
I'm glad you mentioned Chris Curtis, because I want to mention that real quickly, because for those of you who don't know, this was Chris Curtis' 6 fights a year. He's 6-0.
Yep. 6 out of 6. Yep.
Yeah, and granted, 4 of them were regional scenes, but still, 6 fights in a year and to win all of them is not easy to do, and he did it. Knowing that, he got it was. I think the first fight in the UFC was last month in Madison Square Garden. I think that was short notice.
Yep.
And this was short notice too.
He was losing. He was losing the first fight, but then came back out of nowhere, landed that left hook, and it was lights out for. Oh man.
Bill Hawes.
Yep.
And then he beat Brandon Allen here. A month after that, literally a month, almost a month to the day after the first fight, he goes out there, beats Brandon Allen, and Phil Haas and Brandon Allen were both highly touted prospects in the middleweight division. He knocked them both out.
Yep.
So he
He's
stole them all.
definitely making a name for himself.
Stole his momentum. I mean, he's Kevin Holland this year, basically. Holland did last year. He's doing it this year.
He just now has to be very careful. He has a certain buzz, a certain hype around him. Just do the right things, play the media the way you have to, and he's gonna do it right.
Right, yeah, definitely. Most definitely. Shout out to Chris Curtis, shout out to everyone who won, all the fighters here. And I would like to, I would say is, I would say is a lot of great action, a lot of great knockouts, a lot of finishes, a lot of great, especially in the main card. I mean, from the Chris Curtis fight all the way to the co-main event, finishes, exciting fights. Main event was exciting. Good card by UFC. Very good card. Now we go from a great fight night to a potentially great pay-per-view. This is the last pay-per-view of the year for UFC. They like to go big in these pay-per-view shows. UFC 269, Charles Oliveira versus Dustin Poirier for the lightweight title, and also in the co-main event, you got Amanda Nunes taking on Julianna Pena for the women's bantamweight title. And hang on, let me just put the banner on. But yeah, I mean this card is pretty a really good card. You got Jeff Neal going against Santiago Ponzinibbio, two top 15 welterweights in the matchup. You got Kai Kara France going against Cody Garbrandt. And Cody Garbrandt makes his flyweight debut to see how he does in flyweight. And also you got Sean O'Malley going on Rulian
Paiva.
Paiva, excuse me, my bad. Rulian Paiva in the opening of the pay-per-view. As I believe Pavia is actually, I think he was ranked, or I don't know if he's ranked now, but this one he was ranked. Could be wrong.
Nah. He couldn't possibly be ranked based off the last fight he had.
Right. I took some reason. Anyway, yeah, Pavia and Sean O'Malley. Then the undercard, which I think this is a great main event for the prelims. Josh Allen versus Dan Ige, two top 10 featherweights, hard-hitting featherweights going at each other. And also I mentioned earlier, Pedro Munoz going against the legend Dominic Cruz. And then you got Augusto Sakai versus Ty Bam Bam Tuivasa in the heavyweight division.
Mr. Shuey.
Ooh, yes, Mr. Shuey. I guess not, yeah. And yeah, just you got Alex Perez against Matt Schnell in the two top 10 flyweights. You got Ryan Hall in this card. And yeah, a lot of names, big names in this card. The UFC always likes to end strong for pay-per-views as
Not like they really got some good fights. Aaron Blanchfield versus Miranda Maverick. That is gonna be fireworks.
right, Rainer Mavericks on this card.
Yep. Yep.
Um, yeah. So, what do you want to start breaking down? You want to start the main event, or
Oh man, I'm sorry. I'm seeing Ryan Hall is on the preliminaries. Randy Costa's on the preliminaries. Jillian Robertson's on the preliminaries. It is a really stacked card.
yeah? And it begins also the prelims start 8 p.m. on ESPN, 8 p.m. Eastern time zone, 5 p.m. Pacific. 6 p.m. is the beginning of the entire prelims. 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific. And of course, the pay-per-view on ESPN Plus begins at 10 p.m. Eastern time zone, 7 p.m. Pacific on ESPN Plus this Saturday at the T-Mobile Arena. I like to mention that also. Um, yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I mean, I'm gonna start Oliveira and Poirier. I'm just gonna start there. I mean, Poirier and Oliveira. I mean, this is Dustin's second opportunity to become UFC undisputed lightweight champion. His first time did not go well against Habib in UFC 242 in Abu Dhabi. And however, Dustin Poirier has pulled off 3 straight victories. You know, winning against Dan Hooker in a great epic, a freaking phenomenal fight. Then he avenges his loss to Conor McGregor in January at Fight Island. Then in Choji fight, he wins again against. Then we'll see about that, James. We'll talk about that fight. But yeah, but yeah, they're definitely but yeah, definitely talk. This is definitely Poirier mentioned, winning the trilogy fight against Conor McGregor back in July, as he earns the right to fight for the lightweight title again against Charles Oliveira, who's put off 8 straight victories, and he's really been the most very impressive, like, unexpected champions in UFC history. Charles Oliveira was always a guy who was in the UFC, win fights, lose fights, doesn't do anything. Yeah, but he loses the big fights, doesn't really go out as. However, he's put all it together and finally he's broke that ceiling. And especially Michael Chandler's fight, which is just an incredible fight where he got rocked, almost finished in that fight, but then came back and win that fight. Now he's your champion. And this is going to be two guys who tend to go for finishes. Poirier's got, I believe, 10 knockouts, TKOs in UFC. Oliveira's got the most submissions in UFC history. So both guys like to finish. I mean, do you expect this fight to go 5 rounds or no? And what do you expect from this fight?
Truthfully, I expect this to not go 5 rounds. I expect this to end maybe in the third, second, either the second or fourth round. One of those rounds. Um, I expect Dustin Poirier to win this fight, flat out. I'm not even. I'm not even sugarcoating it. I'm gonna tell you why. Um, that fight against Michael Chandler, that was
Mhm.
very impressive the way he came back, right? But there were a lot of things that was wrong with what Michael Chandler did. When Michael Chandler finally got when Michael Chandler finally got Charles down, he started, rushing for his attack, and then he really got confident with his hands. Michael Chandler is also known to fight with his hands down. He's
Yeah.
kind of gonna dart into range and then try and jump back out. Oliveira was able to take care of that with the timing because he's also a wrestler and knowing when someone needs to come in and come out, and he was able to land the shots that were necessary. Um, I don't see Dustin Poirier doing that. If Oliveira really wants to, if Oliveira really wants to strike with Dustin Poirier is gonna, inch in. He's gonna get right into range, find the range that he's comfortable with the striking, with a couple of jabs, and from there do some footwork, try and land some kicks to, probably some leg kicks so he doesn't get grabbed for wrestling, things of that nature. He's not going to go for any body kicks. I'd be surprised if he does that, but it's going to stick to leg kicks and striking. And if Charles Oliveira really wants to strike with him, he's going to find out how much of, I I think Dustin Poirier is a way better striker than Charles Oliveira. And I think Dustin Poirier is a better striker than Michael Chandler as well.
Yeah, I can see your point about both him being better striking both guys. Yeah. I mean, Oliveira's gone better at striking compared early on, but you're right. I think Poirier is the better striker than Oliveira even now. And that means Poirier should have the advantage striking wise. My thing with this fight is can Oliveira can Oliveira take him down? Because if he gets him down, Poirier's a black belt in BJJ. Oliveira's got 14 submissions. I mean, that's one guy you do not want on top of you in a takedown on your back or anywhere, whole any limb, really. And I feel like if Poirier can get taken down, is able to, you know, Oliveira get a hold of it, submission attempt, it can be trouble for Poirier because I think Oliveira has the clear cut advantage in the ground game personally. Now the question is, how can you take him down? That is the question. That's the answer. That's something we will find the answer of Saturday night. And if Poirier can keep this fight standing, Poirier should have the clear cut advantage. He should, because he's a better striker. But if the fight goes to the ground, and as good as Poirier's on the ground is, I think Poirier's in a world of trouble.
I agree with you there. So in that instance, I'd say Oliveira's best chance is to immediately go on the offensive with wrestling. And like I with oh man, if Poirier, I mean, that does give him a good chance. It does give Oliveira a good chance, but within the same note, this is the risky thing about it. If Poirier's defense is really, really good, then it gives him a chance to end up right on top of Oliveira for a ground and pound. And that's the one thing you don't want to end up. You don't want to end up in a situation like that. And so, do you want to test that defense early, or do you want to wait until you've worn him down a little?
That's true. Yeah, good point. And, Oliveira, I think off his back is still pretty dangerous. That's someone, I know ground and pound, but if you're not careful ground and pound, you get caught with arm bars, arm something like that, etc. But I see what you mean. That if you take him down in Poirier versus position, he could do damage to you and really like mess you up badly. I mean, I see what you mean there. Maybe try to figure out a way to tire Poirier or wear on Poirier a little bit before you go for a takedown. So that way it's easier for you to get a submission in Poirier. Kind of like how Guida, it was easy for him to get a submission over Leonardo Santos because Santos was tired last weekend in reference to that fight.
Most definitely. There's a way for Oliveira to win this fight. I'm not saying, there's no chance for him to win. It's just as far as the way he was so comfortable to enter the striking game with Michael Chandler. If he wants to do the same thing with Dustin Poirier, I don't see that fight going the distance, and I don't see Charles Oliveira escaping that cage with the belt.
Yeah, I mean, I know Poirier's the slight favorite in this fight, if I'm mistaken. I think he is, which not surprising. I mean, who knows? I think personally, this is I don't know, man. Something tells me I can see Oliveira pulling the upset. Just I know everything says Poirier should win, everything does, but I feel like Oliveira's just been on a road where every time it seems like he's supposed to lose, he finds a way to not let it happen, pull a victory. Whether it be the Kevin Lee fight, the Tony Ferguson fight, the Michael Chandler fight. I mean, it seems like I don't know. It's like maybe I'm just wrong, but something just I have a hunch that somebody's gonna figure out a way to beat Poirier. When most people are expecting Poirier to win the title, this be his crowning achievement, his coronation rather, excuse me. But we shall see. I mean, who knows?
We'll see. So let's get right into the next fight. Next fight on the card: Amanda Nunes versus Julianna Pena. Uh, Julianna Pena's been talking a lot. She said that Amanda Nunes was scared of her, was scared of this fight. How do you see this fight going?
Amanda wins. I'm just gonna say it. My philosophy is this: unless Amanda Nunes finds Valentina Shevchenko, or yeah, basically her, I'm not picking against Amanda Nunes. I am not doing that until Amanda Nunes loses. I will pick Amanda Nunes to win because she's that dominant. She destroyed everybody in her division basically, with the exception of Valentina. Everyone she just beats just so easily. She's a step above everyone else, and I just don't see her losing. I mean, I know she can't undersell a title challenger, but I don't see how Julia Pena can be Amanda. Like Julia Pena's coming off one victory, she's getting a title fight.
Yeah, I agree with you there. I think it's just I I don't think there's a lot of challengers left for Amanda, so it is what it is.
I,
I'm not betting against Amanda.
yeah, if Pena pulls off the upset, which I don't think is gonna happen, I mean, not be, it'd be
It'd
shocking.
be
Only three ups.
shocking. It'd be shock. No, look, we're both saying the same thing. It would be shocking. Whoever bet money on her, if they bet a large amount of money, they would come out, very, very rich. They come out a happy person. But other than that, nah, I don't see it happening. Let's just move on to the next
Yes.
fight.
Jeff Niver versus Santos Nibio. Now, this is an interesting matchup between two guys who were like on the cusp of breaking out in the top 10, both Jeff New and Santos Nibio, but things got in their way where Ponzinibbio had an injury where he was gone for 2 years, then lost to Li Jianlian back in January. in Fight Island. Then you had Jeff New, who had the Wonder Boy fight last year, where Wonder Boy just dominated him, basically won the fight pretty comfortably and set him back. Although Jeff New and Ponzinibbio both got victories since then, if I'm not mistaken. I know Ponzinibbio did. I don't remember Jeff New, but
Nah. His last loss was against Neil Magny.
his last fight was a loss to Neil.
Yep.
Okay, so Jeff's on a 2-fight losing streak. All right, so yeah, I mean, it's interesting to see where Jeff Neal, where both guys are in their career, because Jeff Neal I know has that, and also he got arrested like over Thanksgiving week. I remember hearing that story for I forgot what it was, and all I remember was it was him being arrested for something. I forget what exactly it was. I do wonder how much that hurt his training and how that's affecting him going into this fight. And he has to deal with court case and shit like that. That's when you meet stuff like that, etc. Is it gonna mess with it? Is his mind more focused on that, or is it on fighting? Did it hurt his training? Also, Ponzinibbio, I mean, Jeff Neal's got power. He can knock. He has knockout ability. We've seen him knock dudes out before. If you're Ponzinibbio, you know, hopefully he's been working on his, striking defense, and not putting himself in positions where Jeff can really hurt him badly. That's something Ponzinibbio will look out for also. I mean, what are your thoughts on this fight and thoughts on the whole, do you think the Jeff Neal arrest situation can play a factor in this fight?
Um, it really can if the fighter's not, all the way in. You can see he's distracted, and that's not something that just happened night of. I don't know what the arrest was, but it's probably some behavior that was building up that got to there. So, um, I don't know. I don't want to. I don't want to make that play a factor into it. I wouldn't, if anyone's betting their money to have that play a factor, but within the same note, I just want to say that you're not getting based off that arrest, you're clearly not getting a focused Jeff Neal.
Yeah, I don't think so. I believe it was one of the things was drive under the influence. So, maybe not exactly the best thing. Obviously, I mean, getting
I
arrested.
mean, but then again, if it's over Thanksgiving weekend, he was probably, though he's in the middle of training camp, they gave him a break. He probably made a mistake. It could be that. You never
Uh,
really know.
that's true. Either way, either way, hopefully this is an exciting fight. I think it has a chance to be an exciting, fight that can really, that can end the finish. Personally, especially if Jeff Neal wins. I think if Jeff Neal wins, it'll be a finish. That's just me personally.
Yeah, if Jeff Neal wins, it's a finish. That's how Jeff Neal wins. He finishes his opponents.
Yep. Well, yeah, definitely. 10 of his 13 victories are submissions. I mean, not submissions, finishes. So definitely, and Ponzinibbio is a finisher too. 15 knockouts, TKOs. So, yeah, I mean, someone might get knocked out in this fight.
Someone might. This might not go the distance. So with that being said, I want to get right into this next fight. Kai Kara France versus Cody Garbrandt. Kai Kara France, man, this guy is very intriguing. He grabbed my attention, what was it, during the pandemic year. He had some vicious knockouts. This guy is very interesting. And so I know Cody Garbrandt, he's a well-known fighter, but he is making his debut into the division. I don't know if, coming in, if the weight, if he's going to be comfortable with the weight. What are your thoughts?
That's the question. Is the weight. That was my big concern. My final this fight is being made. Is that part of me is like, why is Cody? I mean, this could be a disaster for Cody because cutting down at 10 extra pounds, it can mess with his, his recovery,
Power.
his power. Yes, not his power, but also his ability to take a chin, which quite people question his chin already at 135. Although Rob Font didn't finish him, so to be fair, so maybe his chin has gotten better potentially, like Andre Arlovsky's has over the years.
This ain't the division to test your chin.
No, especially when you're cutting extra weight. Now you're cutting
But this
extra.
really, I mean, this is not the division to test your chin. Can I just list some fighters and you tell me if you want to test your chin against them?
Go ahead.
Brandon Royval, Alex
Nah,
Perez,
nah,
Alexandra Pantoja,
no,
Askar Askarov,
no,
Brandon Moreno,
no way.
Davison Figueiredo,
F no.
Rogero Bontorin,
I mean, nah.
Mateus Nicolau, Tim
I don't think
Elliott.
so. Elliot, I mean, nah,
Tim Elliott, bro, you really don't
no,
want to
no,
test the chin against him.
no, exactly.
Sumerdadji,
I wouldn't.
like it's not like, and the thing is with this division, I know he's coming down some weight. It's not about the power. These guys are fast and fury and
Yes.
accurate. Fast, fury, and accurate. Like they will tap your chin a lot. And so, do you really want to test your chin against these guys?
Yeah, and not only that, you're cutting extra weight, which makes your ability to take a punch probably not as good because you don't have less time recovery. And plus, especially small weight class guys, sometimes their weight cuts can get disastrous. I mean, look at TJ Dillashaw, and he's not a big 135er, but yeah, he cuts to 125, and he looked like almost dead. And then we saw what happened against the Cejudo fight. Hopefully that's not the case with Cody. I mean, if Cody does make the weight, he's fine. Doesn't look too bad. I mean, maybe, that's a encouraging sign. Maybe this might be his weight class for him because, well, yeah, in the short term at least, because I know he want to go after the 125 belts, but losing Rafael definitely hurt that chance. But if Cody can recover and the weight cut's not too bad, and you know, he makes it fine, then Cody Garber's dangerous. I mean, he's got power in his hands. He's got good boxing, and he's pretty fast for bantamweight. We'll see if that speed translates over. And Cody's got good boxing, and if you don't want to get caught by Cody Garbrandt because if you do, Cody we see he can knock you out or at least drop you. Just a Sunset. That's what I was trying to say. Sunset or Thomas Almeida or Dominic Cruz. He even dropped him twice in that fight when he won the title. Even Dillashaw he dropped in the first fight. He's got power in his hands, and that translates over to flyweight. If Kai's not careful, Kai can get dropped, especially against guys who's bigger than him. Probably he can maybe knock him out.
Most definitely, I agree with you there. So it's not to say all hope is lost on Cody Garbrandt. It's just coming down some weight, and going into this division where everyone is already questioning your chin, and you're coming into a division with a lot of just accurate fighters. Every fighter in this division is very accurate, and when they flurry, like the action in the flyweight division, it comes very fast, and like the 3 to 5 rounds, they are swinging with the same pace as the first round.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I want to move on to the last fight of the first fight of the main card, Sean O'Malley versus Rolion Paiva. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Be
Just
honest. Come on.
be honest. Wow. I feel like Sean O'Malley is getting fed this guy.
I think so. I think so too. I think Sean O'Malley's purposely choosing these fights.
He's purposely choosing these fights because at any point Sean O'Malley could have moved up the division and fought tougher opponents, but he doesn't want to do that. Apparently, he wants to wait until he can renegotiate his contract so he gets the right money. Nothing wrong with that, but you kind of start to hurt your stock when you pick and choose these opponents. You're not the champion, and you're just walking through these guys like it's nothing. It's like you're providing yourself no challenge as a fighter.
Yeah, yeah, you win a lot and you have a decent following, but at the same time, you're not being top tier competition. Which eventually, if you're not doing that, eventually that following can only grow so much,
And
and only. Go ahead.
it's not to say like he's a bad fighter or anything. He's a
No,
great fighter. It's that though the skill sets he displays deserves to be shown in against higher ranked opponents. Like he's kind of selling himself short by not fighting higher ranked opponents and testing himself and seeing how far he can go and maybe getting to that point of touching the title because like Sean O'Malley, like not for nothing, I I'd say the last fight that he really got hurt was the Cheeto Vera fight.
yeah, I think it was the Shield Vera fight.
After that, how many fights he's had so far? Was two?
At least two, maybe three. I'll
He's
check right
had
now.
two, maybe three fights, and he hasn't really gotten touched in any of them.
Two. Yeah, none of the fights. Almeida or Mutano, right? That's his name. The green hair guy that toughness was shown. Like him, yeah, he barely got touched.
He barely got touched in that one. Like, and so like having a higher class of opponents, it tests him. But this is what I'm saying in Sean O'Malley. Like, it's not. I just want to see him fight a better class of opponents, truly
I did.
test himself. Because when you had a guy in Cheeto Vera who we see is moving up, he surprised him. He caught him with the leg kicks. He doesn't want to count that fight as a loss because he didn't get knocked out. But bro, he caught you with drop. He got you to drop foot, and he caught you silly, bro.
Yeah, he took the L. Just the L.
Yeah. And maybe
Yeah,
next time you'll learn to check those leg kicks, but those are what the higher class of opponents are bringing.
exactly. I mean, they're bringing that, and we gotta see where's Sean O'Malley's ceiling. What is his ceiling? Is it championship level? Is it just top 5 contender, top 10 contender, or it just he is where he is? Andre points out that Pava has no
Has
defense with Sean.
no defense. Sean either by unanimous decision or stoppage. It's gonna be a decent fight, but decent for who? Because in reality, it's gonna. Andre, I agree with you 100%. It's gonna look like Sean versus a punching bag. He has great footwork, great speed, great timing, great sense of range, and so we're just gonna see Sean dipping and diving, trying to get the shots that he wants. He's gonna pick his shots. He's going to be very selective, and he's going to get what he wants to a point where he's going to get very, very comfortable. Paiva, he's shown through the last fight that he has the ability to, I mean,
Yeah, I agree. Although the leg kicks, I mean, Chio Vera leg kicks are
Aldo,
great.
look, Andre. That's Sean trying to stay in the media. I don't think he's serious. I
I
do
mean,
not think he's serious because Andre, you also, you're active in the chat. I don't know if you remember this, but earlier this week he also said he's the only guy that can stop Peter Yan. Now
yeah,
you tell me, what do you think of that statement right there?
I like to know Andre that because I call BS.
I call BS on that, but like we're saying, with Paiva, I think he's just gonna. At most, he's shown he has a grit. He maybe can take the punishment, but
I
Sean,
mean,
I got Sean winning this
me
unanimously.
too. Same. Or late stoppage, like a third round stoppage. Speaking of, Cody's gonna lose this weekend. Yeah, I can see that. I think I lean Kai's slight favorite, just a slight favorite of Cody. So I gotta see the
It's
weight cuts, how it
Yeah,
goes.
it's either gonna be It's gonna be a couple of factors for me, Andre. It's gonna be the weight cut, and I also think these guys in the flyweight is too accurate.
Yeah, speed. Does Cody have the speed? But they do. I mean, Sean doesn't. He does. Oh yeah, talking about Sean O'Malley. Andre
Yeah, with
says,
Sean, Sean, he don't. But this is why him fighting, guys like Paiva and Mutano and Thomas Almeida, like it doesn't do anything for him because those guys aren't gonna come in with a flurry of leg kicks and then try and switch it up. They're not gonna do things like try and fake grapple and then shoot, but then actually go for some striking. Like they're not gonna do that.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, to be honest with you, after watching the press con part, well, not the press conference, part of it, like clips of it on YouTube, like before I got on the air with Dan, I wouldn't mind seeing if Cody wins somehow or even loses, Cody Garbrandt and Sean O'Malley. Considering they don't like each other, that's a step up competition for Sean O'Malley, Cody Garbrandt.
Andre, you got to tell me what you think about that. I don't know. That's something that probably they put that. I'd put that on a main card, but not the co-main event, or
Nah,
just make that the first or second fight of the main card.
or maybe a
I'd
co-main
be okay
event of
with
fight
watching it.
night.
Huh?
Co-main event, no, it's a co-main event of fight night.
Ugh, no. Yeah. Nah. Ugh, no. God, no. I'm not doing that. Sean O'Malley versus Cody Garbrandt co-main event Saturday night. Boy, I turn the TV off immediately. Turn around. I go to my girl's house, get the rubbing a butt in a bed. Like that's it. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that co-main event. Get out of here. And then what you gonna make the main event? I know what you gonna make the main event. You
Just
gonna make it
Aldo.
what?
Just Aldo.
Nah. For that co-main event, I got you right now. You gonna make the you gonna make the co-main. You gonna make the main event like Manon Fior versus Casey O'Neill.
Yeah, you'll see the weird main events. I
It's a
mean,
weird ass. It's gonna be a weird ass main event. That's what they're gonna do.
that's they've been doing that sometimes recently, especially October. I mean, yeah, but Andre's point about Sean and Cody. He says he thinks Cody might be picked apart by Sean.
Andre, yo, I look, you hope Dustin wins. I feel like Dustin's gonna handily win this. I think Oliveira, he got too comfortable with his hands. I think he's hype off that Chandler victory. I think he's gonna get too comfortable. Think he could step in there with the guy with Dustin and just go with the hand striking, and Dustin's gonna piece him up.
Most
I really hope Dustin wins.
I hope so
Because matter
too.
of fact, you know what? Now that we've broken down the main card of that event, we can get right into this discussion because me and Austin had this discussion. Andre, hopefully you could chime in. But Justin Gagey had some very interesting words after his fight and all throughout the weeks with the media.
Oh, I know oh, go ahead.
Let's get right into it because wait, Andre said if Chandler had a gas tank, we wouldn't even be talking about Charles right now. Yeah, if he did, yeah. If he had a gas tank, we wouldn't even be talking about him right now. But it is what it is. We just got to roll with the punches, roll with the punches and the kicks. But Justin Gagey, after he secured his number 2 spot, he goes, "I'm number 1 contender. We let these guys duke it out, and then I fight next." And then Islam Makhachev and Khabib were trying to, say that no, they were number 1 contender. They had the same argument that you had. And so Justin goes, "No, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna fight Beneil to see who's next in line behind me. And that's the way it goes." And lo and behold, now we have Beneil Dariush versus Islam Makhachev. What do you think about that?
I mean, I think it's a good fight. It's a great fight. To me, it's the true #1 contender fight in this division. I'm sorry, Gate. I know. Yes, it is. They're both look at their win streaks. They're both looking great. These are two guys who it's an interesting fight. I mean, Islam's the favorite, but Dariush is very creative, like good jiu-jitsu, also good stand-up. I mean, I think this could be a tough fight for Islam and a very competitive fight. I want to see. I mean, I agree, Andre. You're right. This would tell a lot about Islam. This fight against Beneil. You're absolutely right on the money.
I mean, it's even interesting when you have a guy like Dan Hooker just came out of the ring with Islam, and he still said this. He said Beneil Dariush is the better wrestler.
Crazy. I mean, I
I
think
mean, but that's his opinion.
that's true. I'm just surprised he said that because I'm thinking.
I
I know he trained America for a little bit. I don't know if he trained with Kings MMA. Maybe he got experience with Benil type of vibe. Because I'm surprised he
he
said
may
that.
have, but if he said that, it says a lot. Maybe he feels that Islam provides a pressure like Habib, where most people they have to either try and find the footwork and striking out of it, or you kind of just have to deny the first and second shot, and then from there you get into the striking. That's the way you kind of have to do it with him. Maybe Benil has that defense. Maybe he feels Benil is he's comfortable from bottom getting a submission.
Right. And yeah, maybe.
Ooh, Andre got a question for us in the chat.
Oh,
Giga or Cater?
whew, that's a harder one for me
I don't want
because
to all right, because there's two parts of my brain. One
like
part is saying recency bias. I gotta go with Giga.
yes,
Seeing as how Cater's last fight was him getting pieced up by Max Holloway, and all I've seen right now is Giga Chikadze just not run through competition, but be very, very impressive in his last couple of fights. But then the other part of my brain goes like, Calvin Cater, man, that you don't ever want to give up on that guy.
no, because Calvin was on a roll before the Holloway fight. He was like, I
And
think,
that's what Max Holloway does.
yeah, always to me the best featherweight in the number one featherweight in the world. I mean, he's my champion, but that's another story for another day. But
No,
yeah,
look, here's how great Max is, right?
right,
After the fight
Volkanovski,
with no, not Volkanovski. The last
Yair,
fight he had with
Yair,
Yair. After the fight with Yair, he goes, maybe I'll fight Conor McGregor. He gets Volkanovski so mad. Volkanovski goes, what the hell is your problem? You and me are the next fight. So he has the champion calling him out. Like, that's how GOAT Max is.
Well, yeah, that is true. That is very impressive. I mean, like you said, Max is still a champ in my eyes, but still, it's very impressive. They got Volkanovski. He got, he called out McGregor. Then he called other guys too. Oliveira, he has a victory over him, but he never mentioned Volkanovski. And yet, Volkanovski got so worked up that he basically is demanding they fight again. I mean, that's a good point. Great job by Max, but Giga and Cater, well, man, I don't know, man. I really don't know. Because a lot of people are just remembering Calvin getting dominated by Max, and not
Oh,
forgetting what he was doing prior to that fight. How good he was. And
okay, so
Giga's phenomenal. Giga's phenomenal. I mean, Giga Chirazi is kickboxing wise is excellent.
then I honestly, I'll say this: winner of the fight probably fight for the next title shot, maybe, hopefully. But
Yeah,
here's
here
what
for
I'll
next
say:
time fight.
or maybe Giga calls out Max and goes, "You and me." Instead, and Volkanovski says, he wants to do something else. Maybe have some
Cejudo.
more. No, he doesn't want Cejudo.
Okay.
He's flat out denied Cejudo. So maybe because he said he wanted to wrestle Dan Hooker,
Uh,
and Dan Hooker's even talked about moving into the division.
I don't know why that's a mistake, but that's just me personally. Dan
I
Hooker.
don't know. There's a lot. But Andre, you're absolutely right. Maybe the winner of that fight fights Yair for the next title shot because Yair, he definitely deserves a number one contender fight after that Max fight. Regardless of he should be the guy that the number one contendership goes through. That's what I'll
Yeah,
say.
yeah, I agree. Definitely. Yeah, definitely for sure.
But if that fight was booked, me giving my honest analysis, Andre, giving you the real one, or the real one, Thou Wow, I give it to Giga. I'd say Giga, he keeps the range with the kicks, gets a couple of leg kicks, and when Calvin thinks he's comfortable, Giga's gonna chop him over the head with a high kick, give him a wheel kick, and end his night.
Oh, yeah, that fight's made. It's January 15th or mid-January. The fight's happening.
Mid-January, so then yeah, I'd have to give it to Giga.
Yeah, I gotta think about that before I decide who wins. I don't want the max height to cloud my judgment.
It isn't about that, but the only way I see Calvin Kattar winning that fight is through footwork. He has to have impressive footwork because whenever Giga wants to create distance, he has to close the distance. Keep it to the range he wants. That's the only way he wins the fight. Maybe even dirty up the fight with some clinching and striking in the clinch. But right after that, it's footwork. That's his way to win the fight. Footwork.
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, I can see that point. Um, yeah, yeah, I'm leaning towards Giga now after what you just said. I'm leaning towards him. But what's it? We'll see. I mean, we'll see what happens. If we get closer to the fight, we'll break it down more. Maybe Cal does have that footwork. Um, I do want to mention before we go, I do want to talk briefly about the prelims of the UFC 269, just briefly, not too.
Yeah.
I mean, Emmett Ige, fantastic fight for the featherweight division. I mean, one of those guys. I mean, if they win, they could probably fight the winner of Giga and Calvin Kattar, also, or Koreans. Those. Yeah, especially if Emmett wins. I mean,
I'm gonna tell you right now, coming off that loss, I'm gonna give you my prediction. Coming off that loss against Korean Zombie, I think Ige learned a lot. I think Ige comes out with the victory in this one.
I agree. I think it's a bad matchup for Josh Emmett to return. Because Emmett's been gone for like a year. He's mid-30s, and he's at least a year he's been gone. And to go against Ige, who's got speed and power, and like I said, the Korean Zombie fight that you learned from. I mean, like I said, I'm not gonna count Emmett because Emmett is we've seen him win big fights before, and win fights where he's losing. I mean, aka Michael Johnson fight in 2019 where he was losing that fight in the third round, knocks out Johnson badly. I mean, but still, I just think this is a bad matchup for Emmett and to come back to. I think personally, Ige is gonna beat him, probably knock him out. I mean, even though you think Andre thinks Emmett's gonna win that fight, we'll see. Also, Pedro Munoz and Dominic Cruz. I mean, I'm biased because Dominic Cruz is one of my all-time favorite fighters. I'm a big Dominic Cruz fan. I'm rooting for him to win. But I also gotta give Pedro credit because Pedro has been in the game for a while, very good, striking wise, and probably he's gonna try to go for takedowns on Cruz. Now, easier said than done, obviously. We shall see if he does. And just brief thoughts on this fight.
Truthfully, I think Munoz learned something from, I don't know, did the last, a couple of these fighters I'm seeing, the last fight they had was against some great fighters, and it's a fight where you just had to pick up something, you had to learn what you were lacking. I think Pedro Munoz learns from that Jose Aldo fight because Aldo outclassed him in certain ways that he just didn't see coming. And so if you have a different approach in how you go about it, I think he gives him. I think Pedro Munoz. He wins this fight. Also, Dominic Cruz's chin has been a little suspect in his last couple of fights to me.
Even the Casey Kenny fight, I don't.
But Casey Kenny is. I'm gonna.
Not
I don't think
Casey
Kenny. Casey Kenny has not been. I don't see Casey Kenny as being a guy like that.
I mean, yes, the Hoodoo fight. Granted, you had the knee, but I'm trying. Before it was the Cody fight, which he got knocked down, but he never got I don't think he was ever in trouble getting finished. I know he had that cut, and I forgot which eye was in that fight, but I mean, maybe. I mean, I disagree with that statement. I mean,
I don't see Casey Kenny as Casey Kenny's on a what 2-3 fight losing streak right now.
yeah, before he was on a 3-fight winning streak before the Cruz fight.
Yeah, I know that, but then when he faced higher class of competition and now the last fight he fought was against an up and comer who really like the up and comer. It wasn't I forget his name, but it wasn't like I remember the fight. It wasn't like he was world class. He just mixed it enough where Casey Kenny couldn't do anything. Where he just like I said, he mixed in enough wrestling and striking. Casey Kenny is to me he's got a like if there's a certain barrier he's not breaking right now with me.
All right, you think? I mean, I don't know. I'm hoping Cruz pulls it out. 'Cause I think Dominic Cruz and because I'm a fan, like I said, and Andre, that's a good point. Munoz the leg kicks, yeah, I can give him problems, Cruz. And unless
Because
Cruz,
Dominic is he's the lengthier fighter, I believe, right?
yeah, I think he is. He should be. Cruz is 5'8". I know that. I don't know how tall Munoz is. Let me look up right now. Pedro Munoz. He's billed as 5'6", so he's
Okay.
2 inches short. I mean,
We got to
that's
see
good.
the reach discrepancy.
Good. You know what? I didn't think about that. It says here on UFCstats.com that Pedro Munoz has 65-inch reach advantage. 60. No, he's not advantage. 65-inch, and Dominic has a 3-inch reach advantage. 68.
Okay. So that's
So
significant right there.
yeah, 65 for Munoz, 68 for Cruz. Cruz a 3-inch reach advantage. I mean, we started speaking earlier, but I don't know. Cruz is always like, Cruz is one of the best minds in MMA. Granted, it's only so much your body can do, to be fair. But I just think maybe he has a good game plan. This is a tough. Hey, anyone can win. This is one of those fights that no one's surprised if one beats the other. I think this is what this fight is. I mean, am I wrong in that?
Nah, I'm not wrong in that, but like I said, I feel like Munoz is he's got for me. Munoz is the favorite fighter to me. That's what I'll say with that. So you want to move on to the next fight?
Yeah, this probably be heavyweight division between Augusto Sakai and Tai Tuivasa. These are big old heavyweights.
Um. Well, if I just want to give you my truthfully, there is no analysis when I give you guys my pick. This is no analysis where it comes with this. I just want to see the Shui celebration. That's why I'm picking Tai Tuivasa to win this fight. I just want to see him go grab someone's shoe, pour beer in it, and drink the beer out of the shoe. That's it. It's disgusting. It makes me dry heave, retch in my mouth, but it's funny as hell to me, and that's all I want to see.
I hate the shoey.
I love the Shui.
Disgusting. It's just, ugh.
Absolutely disgusting, but I love it.
It's always disgusting.
There's nothing sanitary about it.
It doesn't matter if he does it or Megan Anderson did it one time, or it doesn't. I think I forgot who someone else did it. It's like, nah. It's just why you gotta do that down under? Why you gotta do that? Any Australians viewers watching us, why is it that you guys do that? Can someone explain that to me, please? Any Australian
You
viewers?
ever seen the movie? You ever seen the movie Beer Fest?
Nah.
Oh, you gotta watch it. You gotta watch the movie Beer Fest. It explains a lot. So,
Okay.
who's your pick for that fight?
I'm gonna go Tai Tuivasa. Bam Bam, his nickname. Because Sakai's on a 2-fight losing streak. Now, granted, one of them was to Overeem and Rosenstruck. And I think Overeem's still a great fighter despite losing his last fight, being a free agent. But Ty's on a roll. He's on a 3-fight winning streak. I think he's got his confidence back, and we know Ty got power. I mean, Ty can finish guys. I mean, we saw he did Greg Hardy in July July this
Yeah,
year.
very impressive.
Right. And Sakai's not like. I mean, they're both heavyweights. They both have power. I mean, Ty's got 11 knockouts, 11 TKO and KO, 11 TKO and KOs of his 12 victories. I mean, that right there shows the power of Tai Tuivasa. If he wins, he's going to usually knock out his opponents, basically, or at least finish them. Sakai, I'm trying to see his. Yeah, Sakai's got 11 knockouts of his 15 victories, so he's got power too. So they both. So basically, someone's getting knocked out. Basically, it's one of those fights, especially a heavyweight. But I'm picking Ty to win.
All right. So, is there any more fights on the prelim you want to break down?
Not necessarily. I mean, is there anything else you want to break down before we head out?
Last fight I want to break down. Last fight I want to break down for the night. Aaron Blanchfield versus Miranda Maverick. Aaron Blanchfield's been like, oh man, this sucks. Excuse me, but this really sucks. This fight it's gonna be awesome, but it sucks because this fight should have happened when later when both of these fighters have a higher ranking, hopefully for a number one contendership to fight for the title. Because realistically, man, Miranda Maverick got stuck behind Macy Barber in that fight, that controversial fight that I truthfully do not feel that Macy Barber won that fight.
I
But
agree.
Miranda Barber, she goes on to, Macy Barber goes on to, move up in the ranking. But you have Aaron Blanchfield, who's been very impressive in the last couple of fights. And these two, hopefully, this isn't the last time that these two meet up, but this fight is going to be very impressive. Like, my heart, I don't know. Oh, man. One side of my head is saying Miranda Maverick because she has that power, but I definitely can't count out Aaron Blanchfield. To me, this is truly a toss up. Just really look out for this fight. This is going to be very impressive. Two ladies that get after it. They are both power fighters, so they're coming in strictly striking. They throw in leather. They're getting after it. This might be fight of the night worthy. So just look out for this fight.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to this fight. This looks like these are two like legit like flyweights, riding contenders in the flyweight division. Like Random Maverick, like I said, was on a roll before the controversial loss to Macy Barber, but Aaron Blanchfield is definitely a girl who might be someone that this division desperately needs for challengers for Valentina. Definitely, you got Casey O'Neill who might be a potential girl to watch out for, but you need more than just one woman. So hopefully, I think both these girls could be that. I know Blanchfield is a BJJ black belt, and I think she's a Bravo Invitational champion. So she's won a major jiu-jitsu tournament. So it'd be interesting to see if it gets to the ground. See Aaron's grappling skills. I know she fights out in New York City. I know she's from New Jersey, but I think she fights out in New York. So something Hansel Gracie's gym too, I believe, in Manhattan. I forget it's in Manhattan. I forget what borough Hansel Gracie's gym's at. I know it's in New York City. I just don't remember where.
Okay. So yeah, just look out for that fight. Um my last words for tonight. I'm looking forward to this pay-per-view. I'm really, really looking forward to it. I know I got to work over the weekend, but I'm going to try my darnest to save enough energy to watch the prelims and the main event. I got to watch it all. This is going to be very, very interesting.
My last words are: this pay per view is gonna be phenomenal. This is how you end the year for the UFC. I'm happy that they always they like to end the year on good notes. They should. Obviously, you want to leave fans feeling good, and they're doing it again. So tip that to the UFC for doing that. For an excellent excellent pay per view for the end of the year. Can't wait to see the main, the prelims, the main card. I mean, I think we're all gonna be left happy at the end of the night, satisfied with MMA fights. And we shall see we get a new champion, whether it be Julianna Pena or Dustin Poirier, or we get current champions stay the same, one belt changes, one doesn't. Either way, a lot's gonna happen. We're gonna learn a lot about fighters. Lots gonna change in these divisions, and I'm excited to see. The pay per view starts at 10 p.m. Eastern time, not 7% Pacific, 7 p.m. Pacific. The early prelims start 6 p.m. Eastern time, 3 p.m. Pacific, and the prelims start at 8 o'clock on ESPN, ESPN Plus, the main prelims, and 5 p.m. 5 p.m. Pacific time. So definitely look forward to that. And thank you guys for watching us, and thank you guys for liking, sharing the video. Salute everyone watching this live right now or later on on archive, or listen to us on audio platforms, whether it be Spotify, Podbean, Reason FM, and etc. Thank you guys for listening to us, watching us, however you do, and have a fun weekend. Stay safe, and look forward to talking to you guys again. And anything you want to say before we head out, Dan?
Now, just thank you, Andre, Dejan Stanovic. Thank you guys for the chat interaction. We always welcome it. We love, like he said, man, and the new Dustin Poirier. That's what we're looking forward to. That's what we want to see. But we just love the chat interaction. Thank you, Andre, for coming in and just chopping it up with us. We're like you guys. We're just fans, and we love watching the fight. I love watching the detail. I love rewatching fights, breaking it down, things of that nature. Because at the end of the day, man, combat sports. I don't know. We just have a love for it.
Yeah, we do, definitely. Combat sports, I love it. It's definitely it's very exciting sport, so unpredictable, but that's what makes it beautiful. The unpredictability of it, the back and forth, the chaos, the willpower. It's just so much about combat sports that you can do. We probably do a whole video breaking down why we love it, what makes it so fun and great. But yeah, it's definitely exciting, and we love it. And thank you, Andre, for your interaction tonight. We appreciate you. Hopefully, look forward to seeing you next week. We do the show again, and like I said, and Dejan Stojanovic, shout out to you, and Chris B as well. Give a shout out to you guys as well. And also we got to shoot to Chasing Funko for his opinion, but he believes Poirier is going to get choked out by Oliveira. We shall see. Don't agree with
James
that.
Ortega, salute to you. You really don't like Cody Garbrandt. We'll see after this fight if you have more of a reason not to like him. So yeah, salute to all of you guys, and yeah, that's it. That's it on my end. Anything
That's
else,
it.
Austin?
Nope, that's about it. Thank you guys for watching us. Good day, good night, and we'll see you next time. And enjoy the fights.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are